Well, hello everyone, and welcome to the concession stand here on the KB Radio Network. I am your host, Kevin Reed, and this is the review of the horror comedy brought to us by the good folks over there at A24, Death of a Unicorn. This film stars Paul Rudd and Jenna Ortega, and it is written and directed by Alex Scharfman. I believe this is his directorial debut. And the film is about a father and a daughter who accidentally kill a unicorn, causing them to be hunted down by its parents. The film also stars Will Poulter, Tay Leone, and Richard E. Grant. This was a film that kind of caught me off guard when I first saw the trailer. I was like, where are we going here? Is this a remake of Legend or something? you know, the old 1980s film directed by Ridley Scott and starred Tom Cruise. That's the last film I remember about unicorns, and it was the animated film. But this looked so weird and quirky and strange that it got my attention. And Paul Rudd, who I'm a big fan of, a man who never ages. Paul Rudd is about 120 years old, but he looks 15. That dude does not age. And you have Jenna Ortega, who we all know from Wednesday. Just recently, she was in Beetlejuice, and a number of other films. And I was intrigued to see how this unicorn story was going to go. A24, a studio that has given us some gems throughout the years, plural, and this looks like a good combination. So I was super excited to check it out. A film that I didn't have a lot of expectation for. I figured it was going to be a small film. Not a whole horde of unicorns that we were going to get to see, and the slasher horror film nature of recent films. But I must say, this movie was all over the place. I really can't pinpoint the tone of this film. I didn't know if it was trying to be a comedy, if it was trying to be a satire, if it was trying to be a horror film. It was just all over the place. It is frustrating to a degree because you see the potential of a good movie in there. There is a good movie in here, a good idea for a film, but it just wasn't executed properly. This this was just a strange film. Paul Rudd, as I mentioned earlier, big fan. Watch anything with Paul Rudd. Paul Rudd just felt miscast in this film. His character early on, yeah, I saw him as that character. But as the film went on and the character goes through this change that comes out of nowhere, you're like, what is this about? Now, it's not Paul Rudd's fault why that character shifted the way it did and why it was written the way it was, but it was just a bad look. It was unearned. His character's arc, if there was one, was unearned to me. And I think somebody else probably could have nailed it, probably could have made more sense out of the role. And that, once again, not knocking Paul Rudd, but Paul Rudd is not known for that type of role, a meaty role like that, to whereas you could add something to it. All that was added to it was Paul Rudd isms. The things that you love him for, that you enjoy watching him for. Yeah, that's there. But it was nothing added to that character to make you feel any type of empathy or sympathy for that character throughout. It just didn't work. Jenna Ortega as his daughter in this film. I don't know, man. Jenna Ortega, as much as I like her, love her in Wednesday. Loved her in Wednesday. Loved her in quite a few projects. But she's the same. She's that emo, just goth girl who's just wandering Earth. She's the same character in every single movie. And it's time to kind of it's time to spice up some of these roles for, and let's see what else this young lady can do because she is a really good actress. She really is. It's just time to kind of break the mold. Let's go against type here, because she's been stereotyped or typecast in the same type of role, and it feels like her team, her management team is playing it safe. You know, getting these roles that are kind of similar to past roles that she played, that she's known for. But she's the same in here. And once again, that's not to say that she's bad. Of course, she plays that role well. I was just hoping to see something different, something new, and I didn't get it here. The story, as I mentioned before, is so uneven. Well, the film, I should say, the film is so uneven with the comedy of it, the horror of it, the little jabs at the pharmaceutical companies and stuff like that. It just, man, this could have worked. This could have been a banger, but I don't know. In more capable hands, I think it could have been. But for a first time filmmaker, I don't think, give him time. Give him time. A couple of other films under his belt, and he'd probably be a awesome filmmaker down the line. But this was not a banger. This did not make me feel like, oh man, I can't wait to see another Alex Scorsman film. It didn't make me feel that way at all. But I'm not gonna throw the baby out with the bathwater. I think it was just first time jitters, and that's what I'm gonna chalk it up to. My last little nitpick about the film is the visual effects. The practical effects was good. I like the practical effects with the unicorns. The visual effects, the CGI effects, nah, nah, they were not good at all. I mean, it looked horrible at times. I mean, I've seen low budget horror films with better visual effects than this movie. And this was a low budget movie. This wasn't a big budget, $120 million movie, but man, they could have did better than this. The visual effects could have been a little better. And I know the movie isn't that. This isn't Avatar here, but I'm just saying, if you're gonna use visual effects, you could do better. I've seen YouTube shorts with better visual effects. It was bad. I mean, it was it was borderline offensive bad. Oh man, I don't know, but either way, the practical effects almost saved it. Almost saved visuals because the unicorns look good in camera. It was just everything else. But overall, it was an all right movie. It wasn't horrible. It was just all over the place, man. If you was willing to stick with it, I mean, it is what it is. It's not. It's definitely not on my to watch again list. I don't even think watching it again to try to, see if I missed something. The movies that you watch you don't like, and you give it another shot to see, and sometimes you're like, you know what, it wasn't that bad. This ain't it. This would not be one of those movies. It was pretty bad. It was bad. I got to take that back. It was bad. I wish it was better, but it was bad. I guess it was the fact that I see where they were going. I see the potential, but it just didn't translate on screen. Eh, it's a little bummer because I had hopes for it. I thought it was going to be really good, but at the end of the day, it just wasn't. Death of a Unicorn gets a letter grade of a D plus. Yeah, yeah. Death of this movie. Um, but it is what it is. I mean, A24. I mean, at one point, they were, it was banger after banger after banger. I don't think they released a bad film for a while, but as of late, it's been one or two that I've been kind of like, okay, maybe y'all getting a little too big for y'all britches here, but that's what it feels like. But it's not the end of the world. I got faith in 824. I'm more than certain they'll bounce back in a big way. I would love to know, what did you think of Death of the Unicorn, and are you planning on checking it out in case you haven't seen it yet? You can email the show kbradiopodcast@gmail.com. You can also search for the show on all social media platforms. Just search for the KB Radio Network. Also, don't forget about YouTube. Subscribe to the KB Radio Network channel on YouTube and like this video if you don't mind. Don't forget about the 5 stars, the reviews, and sharing this show. If you're listening on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, iHeartRadio, wherever you are currently listening to the concession stand here on the KB Radio Network. Everybody, thank you for joining me for this review for Death of a Unicorn. Want you all to know that I love you, continue to love everyone, and until we speak again, you all be blessed.